Thanks very much, Dulcie. She also forgot to mention that I spent a long time here at the university. I actually have 3 degrees from the university because I had to wait for a long time before Dean Smith was able to finally win a national basketball championship, and then I was able to go. Thanks very much to the faculty and the staff of the school for inviting me to speak here today. I do want to say special thanks to Dulcie, the dean of the school, and as she noted, a colleague of mine from graduate school here, and to Speed Holman, the associate dean for development and alumni affairs. They were kind enough to think of me today for this occasion and to invite me here to speak, and so I trust that I won't disappoint them or you as I do so. And by the way, I guess the best measure of whether or not I disappoint you is whether or not you guys are tweeting good things about me as I speak. So my Twitter name is J, initial J, Walker Smith, and I need a lot of help with my clout score, so the more you can do, the better. But congratulations to each of you. You actually did it, so give yourselves a cheer. How about it? Let's hear it. Yeah. And parents, they did it. So give yourselves a cheer too. This is a happy day for everybody, so congratulations all around. And for those of you who are graduating, you've achieved something very important and very significant in your lives, and I hope that you recognize the power of what you've done. But in saying that, I don't mean to imply that you're done. In fact, far from it. You're just getting started. You are, in effect, back to freshman year. And that's okay, because that's what you need in this world, and that's what the world needs from you. Not a finished product steeped in what's known already, but a person in the process of becoming, a person ready, willing, and able to keep growing and evolving in a world in flux, a world shifting in its grooves. And that's you guys. You guys are the citizens and the leaders of this new world. So you have to leave here today ready to stand up, be counted, and catch fire. And that's my theme here today. My 3 thoughts, my 3 teensy bits of advice for you today is to stand up, be counted, and catch fire. Stand up, by which I mean meet life head on. Be counted, by which I mean make a difference. And catch fire, as in surprise yourself, as in create your own light. Indeed, you're about to leave behind a world in which everyone, from your parents to your teachers to all of your friends, cares about your success, to a world in which everyone will be focused on themselves with little, if any, time for you. That's probably the single biggest change ahead. So mark my words about at least this one thing and get ready to light your own way. You'll have a circle of support, for sure, but nothing like what you have now. So from here forward, it's all up to you. Now, I know this sounds like a bunch of uptight cliches, right? You're wondering if I'm going to be one of these uptight cliche commencement speakers, and we're all savvier than that, right? Well, maybe. I can tell you what I was thinking about during my undergraduate commencement, and it wasn't the words of wisdom that our commencement speaker, William Friday, the legendary president of this university system for 3 decades, and who, in case you didn't know, was the guy who took a chance on hiring a young, unproven Dean Smith as head basketball coach in the 60s. During my commencement, all I could think about was parking tickets. You see, before there was a Davis Library over there, there was an enormous gravel parking lot with a couple of out-of-the-way spaces where, if you got lucky, you could park for a whole day without getting a ticket. But if you were lazy about getting up early enough to catch the bus and tried to park there about every other day, like I did, the odds were you'd get to commencement, as I did, with about $700 in unpaid parking tickets. Now, the problem was there was this policy, no diploma until all parking tickets were paid. So during my commencement, there was this movie looping infinitely in my head in which me and my parents were making the long walk to the tent where diplomas were alphabetized and handed out, only to arrive and find that my diploma had a sticker on it with a ransom note from the parking authority. I can't tell you a single word that William Friday said that day. So I'm not going to take offense if your mind is on other things, especially if you're tweeting about me. But you shouldn't worry too much. For as I discovered, though your parents may be shocked, they will not be surprised that they have yet another check to write to this university. In fact, take it from me, today they are so happy and so relieved that you will find there has never been a more opportune time to ask them for money. Indeed, take that to heart. You need to make a habit and a practice of asking. Asking. Let me offer you another story, one that's a little less silly and a little more to the point of stand up, be counted, catch fire, one that's illustrative of what I mean by these three things. It's a story about asking. I left the J School with a doctorate, luckily enough, and found my way forward in the field of marketing research. My second job was at a consumer packaged goods company in Greenville, South Carolina, where I really learned my trade, beginning as a lowly research manager for brands like Fantastic Spray Cleaner and Glass Plus, brands that are still around. But the big brand in our portfolio was Spray and Wash. That was the brand that anybody with any ambition wanted to work on, whether you were in marketing research, R&D, finance, sales. It was all about Spray and Wash. The biggest line management job in the marketing department was senior brand manager for Spray and Wash. And the way up after that job was corporate management. So this job was the premier stepping stone in the company. Everybody in the marketing department wanted that job. Now, when I arrived at the company, that job was securely in the hands of a guy who seemed likely to hold on to it for a few more years. But that soon changed. He was doing such a good job that headhunters noticed, and he was recruited away. So the immediate question became, who would replace him? And at our little company in Greenville, South Carolina, this was high drama. The suspense built as rumors started to fly. It was all anybody could talk about. The entire company stood still waiting for the announcement. And there were three people on everybody's short list. Each of them desperately wanted this job. Each could tell you passionately about why he, yes, they were all men back then, was the best person for the job. In fact, an office pool was started with some math whiz in the R&D department handicapping the odds. But we all felt like we had skin in this game because as Spray and Wash went, so went the company. This was a decision that everybody cared about, but nobody more so than the three odds-on favorites themselves. But the days, of course, stretched into weeks with no announcement forthcoming from the marketing VP responsible for making this decision. So in my sort of typical youthful, brash way, I invited him to lunch to see if I could pick up on any clues and improve my odds in the office pool. This subject didn't come up during our meal, so on the drive back, before I could stop myself, I just blurted out, "What are you planning to do about the Spray and Wash job, Jim?" And there was this sort of pause as he arrived at a little red light, and he absorbed my question. And then he told me, yes, there's several people qualified for that job, which made it very difficult for him to decide. In fact, it was a key position, one that demanded commitment and dedication. He said to me, "I don't just want somebody who can do the job, Walker. I want somebody who wants to do the job." And you know, he added, not a single person has come to me and asked for that job. Nobody seems to want it so much that they're not afraid to ask for it. He said, "I'm amazed that as much as some people want this job, no one wants it enough to ask me for it. So to tell you the truth, Walker," he finished, "I really don't know who I should promote to fill this position." Well, about a week later, at long last, a surprise announcement was made. The new senior brand manager for Spray and Wash was a person on nobody's short list, a person who was a level below the three favorites. Now, she was a great choice, yes, a woman, but hers was a dark horse promotion from which I learned a lesson that I've lived by ever since, and a lesson for you here today. Simply put, the lesson I learned was, quote unquote, to always ask for the job. Don't leave it to chance or fate. Don't expect others to know what you know or know what you want. Don't wait around for others to come around. Let people know that you're ready, willing, and able. In the case of Spray and Wash, 3 qualified candidates left it up to fate and were passed over, not because they weren't capable, but because they didn't ask for the job. Now, since that conversation in the car coming back from lunch, my career has been defined by that one lesson: ask for the job. Now, of course, I realize this sounds very egomaniacal and Machiavellian, so let me try and put this in a different perspective. You're going to encounter many situations in life where you know you are the right person to make a difference and improve things for everyone else. And I mean every situation, not just work. If you really want to make the difference that matters to you, then you have to stand up and meet the situation head on. Don't depend on others having the vision to see the potential in you. Don't let your opportunity go unrealized just because you didn't ask. But make sure that these are opportunities that count. Don't squander your personal currency. There are only so many times you can ask without becoming a beggar. So ask when it really matters, when you want the opportunity because it gives you a chance to be counted. Ask when you can make a difference that matters. And again, I don't mean only work. When you stand up and ask, do so because you want to be counted for making a difference that matters. And if you do this, then you will catch fire. I can assure you of that. Doors will open, opportunities will present themselves. You'll be amazed at what happens when you just ask. A world of possibility will lie at your feet. This world is desperate for people willing to ask for the job. There is more than enough that needs doing for each of you to catch fire and cast light in some dark corner desperate for illumination. We live now in a very historic time, and I mean this literally. In my work at the Futures Company, I consult with corporate clients about the big macro forces now remaking the world. And when you look at this big picture, you see a world on the threshold of a new era. I think of it as the confluence of 3 major cycles, each of which is closing out one era and opening on to a new one. One is economic, one is technological, one is demographic. The shock of the recent financial crisis reminded everyone that economic risk cannot be ignored, and so for the foreseeable future, the global economy will be driven less by indulging our impulses and more by being responsible and accountable. Technology is also changing as mobile devices unseat personal computers as the keystone of computing. I'm part of the PC generation, so are your parents. I was born in the same year as Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. They did a little better than me, but these were the 2 guys who shepherded PCs into the mainstream. But once 4G is nearly universal, and that'll be about 2016, we call it the 2016 moment at the Futures Company, PCs will be in a death spiral because on your mobile device, you'll get speeds just as fast as you get on your laptop today. And you will come of age in a brand new world of no PCs, something that was unimaginable when you were freshmen here at the university. It gets a little less dramatic from here on out. I just heard a PC going down the toilet there. It's circling the drain. Finally, there's a demographic handoff going on from the generation over 50, that's old people like me, to the generation under 30, people like you. And these are the 3 shifts from one era to the next that will unfold in the context of the biggest challenge of all in the years ahead, and that is resource constraints and environmental limits. Indeed, many put this challenge in very stark, dark terms to say that an era of abundance is now giving way to a coming era of scarcity. This is a popular characterization, but frankly, having repeated it, I think it's too alarmist and treats the future as something we will have to endure because there's no way way to change it before it gets here. And that's just wrong. The alarmist view of scarcity presumes that you will fail to stand up, be counted, and catch fire. It presumes that there is nothing that you can do to make things better. It presumes that you will fail before you even get a chance to try. So don't believe that for a minute. You don't have to look far for headline-grabbing hyperbole about what's ahead, but doomsday accounts only define problems. They don't anticipate or define solutions, which is why the future needs you. All of this means that your lives will be more fluid than any generation before you, and you will need to be more flexible and inventive than ever. You will be dictating the new rules to all the rest of us sooner than you may think. So you better stand up, be counted, and catch fire right away. We need it. At this moment, there are three things, in fact, that our nation lacks: smart people, breakthrough innovations, and a willingness to let go of the past in order to forge a way forward. All workforce forecasts foresee a significant shortage of college-educated people by 2020. Most economists believe we have played out the prior era of innovation, and until the next wave comes along, our economy will remain fragile, just as other nations are catching up. And the culture wars of baby boomers, rooted in the vast social changes of the 60s and 70s, continue to play havoc with our ability to govern ourselves. We need you. We need smart people like you who can bring new, innovative ideas to our economy and to our politics. We need your fresh perspective and willingness to experiment. We need your energy and electricity to power our way forward. As I said at the beginning, you're inheriting a world in flux, shifting in its grooves to spin at a new angle. So meet this future head on. Stand up. Make a difference. Be counted. And exceed expectations, especially your own. Catch fire. All you have to do is ask. Godspeed to you. Good luck. And go Heels. Thank you very much.